everyone, Linda Israel here, and I'm going to work on my rainbow junk journal. I've been sharing with you all of the pages, so now I'm going to work on the cover of this journal. And what I've decided to do is basically the concept of like Franken pages where you sew a bunch of pieces together. I'm going to kind of do that with scraps of fabric, and I'm also going to make some pieces out of Tattered Angels and canvas. So Tattered Angels is from tatteredangels.com. You can also get it through Canvas Corp brands, and then the canvas is actually scraps from a scrap pack that I got from Canvas Corp brands. So my idea was I would use these plain pieces and dye them basically each color of the rainbow. So let's get started. So I've got a box here. That's my spray box. It's about a 3-inch deep, and it's big enough to hold an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. And I'm just going to lay my piece of fabric in there. And then I have a stencil that I made. This is the Moroccan stencil, and depending on what you want, if you want it to be perfectly straight, you may want to line it up. You may want it wonky. So what I'm going to do is I've got a couple colors here of Tattered Angels because I wasn't really sure how dark it was going to be. I have crimson, chili pepper, and red chili. So basically I just picked a few colors to hopefully get it the shade of red that I am going for. And I'm shaking these up because they have micas in them, and we want that mica to come out as well. So I'm going to start with the Simply Sheer, which is just a red, and it's called chili pepper. And I'm going to spray that on. And then we're going to do the next color, which is crimson. Apparently my bottle must be clogged. Oh, there it goes. And I just got sprayed. And then let's use red chilies. I want this to be a really dark, yummy red. And just to soak up some of that excess spray, I'm just using a piece of copy paper. Because we don't want to waste any of that. I may be able to use it for another project. I love how this stencil works. Of course, this is very wet, but there is my first one, the red. Let me get it out of the box so you can see it. So it kind of bled because I did add a lot of color to it, but I'm okay with that. So I'm going to let this dry, and let's work on the next one. I've got a different stencil. This is my lace stencil. Actually, I'm going to use this one because I know it's clean. I don't wash my stencils unless I know I need to use them for something. So sometimes they bleed other colors. So this time I have Simply Sheer Safety Orange and Italian Sunset. So let's see how this comes out. So that one kind of bled a little bit, but I think I'm liking this having different textures on each one. This is my circle stencil, and I thought that might look good with the yellow. So I've got a gold, maple yellow, and a daffodil chalk baseboard. I guess baseboard, not chalk, baseboard. I like the way that yellow looks too. It's just each one's going to be unique and individual. This is my leaf stencil. I have Hemlock Green and Blarney, so they're kind of different shades of green. That looks cool too. I stopped for a minute to rinse off my stencils, which I normally don't do, but I did because I wanted the colors to be true and not muddied in case something came off of my stencil. So now I'm going to do blue, and I've got Sapphire and Imperial Blue. That's yummy. All right, so I've got Fully Purple and Iris. This is a chalk baseboard paint. It's a real opaque. All right, and the last one I'm going to use Strong Pink and Pink Poodle. The Strong Pink is a sheer, so it doesn't have the mica in it. And I chose the Pink Poodle because it has mica in it. It needs a little bit more purple to it, so I'm going to add just a little bit of Fully Purple on top. And that should deepen that to a violet color more of a red violet. Well, let's look at all the colors here. So I'll get them all lined up. They're not quite dry yet. They kind of zoom in so you can see all of those. What do you think? Those are kind of cool, huh? All right, we're gonna let this dry, and then I will get out what's going to be my foundation that I plan to sew all these on, and I'll show you what we're gonna do next. Here is the finished pieces sewn together onto a piece of muslin fabric. Basically, all I did was make an arrangement, pin them in place, and then I stitched around each piece. There's not any glue involved and nothing else attaching these. You can see the back side as well. So this will be my cover on the outside, and what I've done is I've cut some chipboard. In my case, it is corrugated cardboard that is 5.5 by 8.5. 2 of those, and one that is 3 inches by 8.5 inches. So the next thing I do is I kind of look at this and see where I want everything laid out, and I always make my cover just a little bit bigger than my chipboard or cardboard that I'm using, just in case I need to move things around and get it better positioned. I think that's gonna work. I'm gonna go that way just a little bit. Now, whenever you're making a book like this from scratch, you want to make sure that when you place these pieces that there's a gap between here so that when the cover moves, it has room to move and doesn't buckle. So the first thing that I'm going to do is take this piece here in the middle, and I'm just going to use tacky glue. I will say that if you use too much glue, it will seep through your fabric. So you don't want to use too much glue, and you want to also use enough glue. So what I have found is if I just go around the perimeter with a thin bead of the glue, and then I'll make a zigzag down the middle, and that should be enough glue to hold this in place. So I'm just going to position it in between. And then I'm just going to place glue on the back side of these, remembering to leave a gap. Alright, so now I've got these pieces adhered down. I'm going to start folding in the edges, and I start with the corners. I fold them in, and I'll finger press those, and then I will put glue where that triangle is and adhere this down on all 4 corners. Then once all the corners have been done, I'll start folding in the edges and gluing those into place. And I like to put glue right next to the cardboard and then out on the edge of the fabric and a little zigzag in the middle. And that'll help ensure that this is glued on there and not going to come free. I'm going to use my bone folder to press and smooth as well. I'll let the glue dry for a little bit, and then I'm going to go to my sewing machine and I'm going to sew all the way around the outside edge of the journal cover. And once that's done, I'll come back. Oh wait, before I do that, I made a tie to go on my journal, and basically I took a 2-inch wide piece of fabric and folded it in half and zigzagged on both sides, and then someone in one of my Happy Mail packages sent this piece of rainbow rickrack, and I just sewed it on top. And what I'm going to do is cut this in half, and then when I go to the sewing machine, I'm going to place this inside the cover here with a little tail sticking out. And then when I sew all the way around, it'll be caught here. And then when I put the covers on, it'll cover this up. So I'm going to glue these into place so they don't shift on me. And I'm going to figure out where the center of my journal is, which is about there. So in the same amount of glue. So I just folded my cover over so I had an idea where I'm supposed to stick this down, and that looks like it's pretty much lined up. So we can tie that together and it'll be somewhat lined up. Alright, so I'm going to let this dry and then I'll take it to the sewing machine and I'll be back. I've sewed around the outside and it's attached the ties, and it's really starting to look like a journal cover, and I'm loving it. All right, so let's open it up. I want to make sure that this is going to be my front cover. So I've got it over here on the left so that I can make sure I put everything else in right side up. What I've done is I've taken some cardstock. I took 2 pieces that is 8 1/4 inches tall by 5 inches wide. That's going to go in the center, and I wanted that because I really wanted some strength, because I do plan to punch holes in here, and I didn't want my cover to bend and buckle. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a lot of glue in here and put these together. So I'm going to go across here, down, across, zigzag, and then I'm also going to put glue on here from top to bottom in the center, and I'm going to put glue on the other side because my piece of paper is long enough that it should go all the way across. I'm going to position that in the center, top to bottom, left to right, and then I'm going to use my bone folder to smooth and to press to get that glue to adhere. And knowing where the bends are is important, so I'm looking for where the bend is. Alright, so I'm going to let that dry some more before I actually bend the covers, and then I made inside inserts that are 8 1/4 tall by 5 1/4 wide, and I just took a piece of fabric that I folded down the edge and sewed it, and then I wrapped it to the back side, and then I sewed all the way around, and that will go here. And I just thought the bright yellow is just more color. So now I'm going to put glue on the back side of this around the perimeter and a zigzag in the middle, just as I do all the other elements. This will also help capture the tie so it stays in place. Again, I'm using my bone folder to press that into place. I'm going to do the same with this piece, and then I'll let this rest and let the glue set up before I go any further. I'm going to set something heavy on this to kind of helps keep this smooth. Sometimes when you have fabric to paper, it takes a little more effort. So I'll put something heavy on that, let that dry, and then I'll be back. Alright, so this is rested for a little while. So again, I'm going to make sure that I've got good creases where the fold should be for the cover, or where the hinges are. And so I'm going to fold that up. I'm going to do that on both sides. Make sure that this is working properly. I don't have any big buckles or gaps, so that's looking good. And the way that the insides are going is I have created each color as a little booklet, basically an insert, and I thought what I would do is punch holes, and then these would be put in Midori style. So I just kind of got a little template here of what the spacing should be on here, and the next thing I'm going to do is just mark some holes and then use my crocodile to punch holes. So I'm going to get a pen. Alright, so I'm going to turn this so I can see it better. I want to make sure that this is in the center, and I'm just going to put dots where I want to punch holes. And I'm okay if it's a little wonky. It is handmade. So keeping that same template, I'm just going to go from here and flip it down. I don't want to reverse it. Again, making sure that I'm in the center and I'm positioned where I want it. Alright, so I've punched all, or marked all the holes, so now I'm just going to get my crocodile on the smaller one and punch the holes. So there's all my holes punched in there. So here comes the fun and slash tricky part to figure out how to weave this through. So I'm just going to video it because I haven't planned this out yet. I know that I want a band from top to bottom on the inside. So I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to start on the second hole in and then go to the first hole. So if that were the case, okay, I think I'm planning this out right. Okay, so I'm going to start on the furthermost side, and then I should be able to zigzag down. No, that's still not going to work either. I'm going to figure this out. Alright, I'm going to go off camera and figure this out, and then I'll come back. Okay, I think I figured this out. By the way, I'm just using some, I think it's 2mm elastic. I think you can find it in like a jewelry department. If I can find a link on Amazon, I'll share that. And I buy it in bulk whenever I buy it. So I started up here and from the outside and came down to the bottom, and then this piece right here is poking through. And then from the outside we went down this way, outside, zigzag back and forth. Then when we got to the last one, I poked it through the last hole, and then I went back through the second hole. So now this is on the inside, and I think all I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust this, make sure it's got enough play in it. Let's see what happens if I put one of my journal pages in. I wanted there to be enough give, and I think there is. I think that's going to work just fine. So I'm just going to take this piece down here at the bottom, and I'm going to tie it in a square knot or surgeon's knot where you tie it over twice. Pull that tight. I'm going to do it again, and then I'm just going to cut off the excess, so that'll kind of be out of the way. And then I'm just going to put the journal pages in now. I don't know that I went over this very well, but each of these junk journal pages I made separately, and then I decided that I wanted a unique cover for each one without covering up what was on inside. So I used a piece of transparency film folded in half. Do be careful that you don't want to crease this because it will split, and if it does split on you, you could washi tape it back together. I just was really careful and replaced the one that split on me. And then I had a mop-up page for every color, and I just put one of the acetate covers on top of it for additional journaling. And I love it. Oh my gosh. So there is my rainbow journal, and I will have some still shots at the end so you can see it a little bit better than in the video. And we'll just quickly flip through it because I've got a video for each of the pages. So I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but the whole idea was you have a pocket in the front. These are all journal inserts that can come out. So if you want to journal in them, and some of them have hidden pockets with journaling cards inside of them. Some of them even have little journals inside of them. So it's a bunch of hidden treasures, if you will. And I just love the colors and how these came together. Like this page that it opens up has a piece of Velcro on it, and it has a little tab inside. I mean, there's just neat things on each page that make them unique and unusual. So I hope you enjoyed seeing my take of doing the rainbow and doing it in different signatures so that you can possibly get inspired to make your own. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. Share it with your friends. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe because I do have more yumminess to come. I love this with the journal insert. Each of the pages that, like I said, they're just unique and different. And then there's all of those pages to write on, featuring each color. And then I love the little tie I made. So again, I hope you love this. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you end up making your own, and I'd love to see some photos of that. definitely check out my description box to links to my social media connectors, including all my Facebook groups and Instagram and Twitter and whatnot. I appreciate you coming here and watching. Have a fabulous day, everybody. Bye.